You may remember the drill. Breaths first and then chest compressions. But new research suggests that there may be a better way to save a life. We're paging our Dr. Gupta. Sanjay, that these results are astounding, tripling the survival rate, and goes against most of what we've been taught.
Yeah, it is interesting. Paramedics in Arizona have been actually doing a different sort of CPR for 3 years. As you mentioned, they believe they've tripled survival rates. They actually published their findings in the Journal of the American Medical Association. We wanted to find out what this was all about, John. We went to Arizona and took a look.
This is where I hit.
7 weeks ago, Mike Mertz collapsed at the wheel around the corner from his townhome in Glendale, Arizona.
And the fire department was here within about 4 or 5 minutes, and they performed on me here until they got me stable enough to take me to the hospital.
The paramedics saved Mertz with a new kind of CPR. The standard way: clear the airway, insert a breathing tube, then alternate 2 breaths with 30 chest compressions. But Glendale EMTs are doing it a new way. Start immediately with 200 chest compressions, strong and quick, like this, 100 a minute. Then shock with an electrical defibrillator. Then another 200 compressions right away. No stopping to check for a pulse or another breath. Ben Bobrow, who oversees the state's paramedics, says it works because for the first several minutes after cardiac arrest, there's enough oxygen in the body to keep you alive for several minutes, but only if you pump on the chest to circulate blood. Any delay, even to check a pulse or clear the airway, it's critical time that's lost.
And interrupting the blood flow to the heart and brain for even 10 seconds can be all it takes to actually decrease the chance of a successful resuscitation.
The American Heart Association says it needs to see more research before changing official CPR guidelines.
The one that actually did the compressions on me.
He truly was dead.
Mike Mertz says the chance to meet the men who saved him is living proof the new way works. Now, John, this technique is controversial. Not everyone has sort of bought into this yet. The American Heart Association says they don't plan to change their guidelines for now. But again, this article coming in the Journal of the American Medical Association say the rates have tripled in terms of survival just by doing all these chest compressions instead of stopping for the breath or stopping for other things, John.
When we examine these recommendations, Sanjay, there's this defibrillator part of it. Anybody can, come up to somebody and give them chest compressions, even help them breathe if that's absolutely necessary. But not everybody's carrying one of these AEDs, these automatic external defibrillators, in their back pocket. So what do you do if you come upon somebody who, say, collapses in the middle of Fifth Avenue?
A couple of important points here. First of all, the data will show that if you see someone collapse on Fifth Avenue or wherever, only about 15 to 30% of people will do anything at all, actually get involved or start any kind of resuscitation. These bystanders need to be more active, and that's why this idea of just doing chest compressions seems to be catching on a bit. If you add the breaths and stuff, people may be more reluctant to do it. I want to show you, John, really quickly, if I can here. We actually have a sort of dummy, and one thing I will say is I encourage anyone to sort of take CPR classes, and let this be an opportunity to just remind people to do that. But in a nutshell, you take your dominant hand, put it down, put your non-dominant hand on top, sort of interlock the fingers, and you get what's called the intermammary line, right between the nipples, and put the palm of your hand right there in the middle of the chest and push down so that you basically get your shoulders right above your hand and push down about 1/2 to 2/3 of the chest. And you push down, you do this 200 times, quick and fast, John. That is sort of what they're recommending, at least in Arizona. And again, recommending that everyone take a CPR class to really make sure they get this technique down well. It can certainly save lives, as they're showing in Arizona, John.
Yeah, and make sure that while you're down doing that somebody is dialing 911, right?
Absolutely. You want to get the paramedics there, to your point, to actually bring the defibrillator or to get a defibrillator from wherever it is, because that's obviously part of this routine as well.